Hello and welcome to this presentation. My name is David. I'm a Student Support Manager, and this presentation is designed to help you prepare for your dissertation. So let's get started. In order to enroll to your dissertation, you first need to have completed all 8 of your academic modules, which will total up 120 credits. And when you want to enroll for your dissertation, you should be in touch with your Student Support Manager. It's not actually possible to self-enroll because there are a number of checks that your Student Support Manager will need to go through first of all. Dissertation modules always start on the first Thursday of the month, for example the 5th of July 2012. Okay, so as soon as you know when you would like to enroll, be in touch with your Student Support Manager. Okay. So what is the dissertation exactly? Well, the dissertation is a high standard of academic work in your preferred research area, and that may be an area that you've been planning on researching for quite a while, or it may be a new kind of field for you, but there's plenty of time to get yourself prepared for that. The dissertation itself lasts for 9 months, and your due date is always the 28th of the 9th month after you started. So if you started on the 5th of July 2012, your dissertation due date would be the 28th of March 2013. And in total, the dissertation accounts for 1/3 of your credit points. So that's 60 credit points. In order to help you prepare for the dissertation, Laureate have a Dissertation Readiness course. This is a self-led course which you're enrolled into automatically during your 6th module. And it takes between 10 and 15 hours to complete. There are no instructors, but the purpose of this course is for you to really work through your ideas. There's also some questions to answer, and you can complete that course in your own time, any point between the 6th and the 8th module, as long as you finished it before you start your dissertation. And when your enrolment to that course is confirmed, you'll be given an email. Okay, so here's a bit of an overview of the dissertation roadmap, the run into the dissertation. So after your 6th module, you will have your dissertation readiness course available to you, and then you can take that, if you have a gap between the 7th and the 8th module, for example. Okay. So as we talked about, the dissertation readiness course normally takes between 10 and 15 hours to complete. If you have any questions when you're embarking on this course, you can of course contact your Student Support Manager. And there's also information on the Centre for Student Success. Alright, so you're approaching your dissertation. Here are the checklists to help you make sure you have everything in place. Have you successfully completed your dissertation readiness course? Have you reviewed the online library training and referencing guide, which is extremely important for your dissertation? Have you decided on the topic you want to study? What is it exactly that you want to investigate? Why and how will it inform other scholars? If you're a student who is taking a particular specialisation in MPH, you'll need to ensure that your topic for the dissertation is in line with that specialisation. It's also very important to ensure that you understand which stream, which methodology you will be following. Will it be qualitative or quantitative? We'll look at that more in a second. You should also ensure that you have access to a site or sites where you can conduct the research, or are you going to be using secondary data sources? And finally, you should also find out what your local ethical requirements are for conducting research in your own country, and this is very, very important to understand, and we'll look at that a bit further on. Okay, so am I taking a qualitative or quantitative dissertation? Well, I'm sure you'll be aware by this point that you have taken 2 modules which explore the qualitative methods when it comes to the public health arena. That's Qualitative Methods of Public Health Research, which is Module 2, and Health and Society, which is normally the 5th module. On the other hand, you could have opted to go down the quantitative route, and the requirements for that is that you complete the 2nd module successfully, which is the Epidemiology and Statistics for Public Health Research class, and also the Regression and Evidence-Based Methods for Epidemiology. Okay, so when your dissertation starts, for the first 8 weeks, you will be in a research support class, which looks a little bit like your normal classroom. These classes are held monthly, but be careful to note that the months alternate between qualitative and quantitative cohorts. So do make sure that you are enrolled into the correct cohort. And if you're unsure, you can always contact your student support manager. And you have 8 weeks whereby you participate normally, as if in a regular module, but your hand-in work will actually look a little bit different. You'll be focusing more on your proposal to start with. Okay, so a little bit more about the research support class. You will have weekly deadlines and assignments. You'll be working on your proposal, as we've just talked about, but you'll also be looking to match up with a dissertation advisor. Now, this person will be very, very important for you in your research. It's a very important relationship for you to work on. You may have already encountered an instructor who you'd like to work with. We can't guarantee that all instructors who teach the regular modules are available as dissertation advisors or DAs, but hopefully that will be the case. And the target is that by week 4 or 5, you will have your dissertation advisor assigned. Okay. When that happens, you will actually have a separate classroom set up, so you have a one-to-one interface with that dissertation advisor, whereby you submit your work to them individually. Okay. And the overall objective of your research support class is to get your proposal approved. Okay. So here's just an overview of the different roles of the different people you'll be encountering in your dissertation. We have academic and non-academic advisors, of course. On the academic side, your instructor is called a GDI, a General Dissertation Instructor, and they guide you during those first 8 weeks, that research support module. They're actually also available for the entirety of your dissertation, and that class will actually remain open for all those 9 months. But the main responsibilities for them is during those first 8 weeks to get your proposal approved. Secondly, you have a dissertation advisor, as we've just been looking into, and they will be giving you one-on-one guidance in your dissertation advisor classroom. On the non-academic side of things, of course, you have your student support manager there to help you, and obviously they can provide personalised guidance for everything non-academic, whether that's communication, whether that's understanding the deadlines for the class, for example. So let's look now a bit more about how to match with a DA. You will be asked to match up with a DA, a dissertation advisor. We will obviously try to accommodate this request, but due to numbers of students, it's not always possible, so it's good to bear that in mind. And the kind of things that we consider are the type of studies that you're intending to do, the subject matter, and as this is, we're looking at matching you with a DA, we will look to find someone who has similar interests, similar expertise in that field. It's not always required for you to accept the first match, but we will endeavour to find you another suitable match if the first dissertation advisor is not someone you'd like to work with. When you start out in your DA class, you will be asked to read and amend, if agreed, with your DA, a student and dissertation advisor agreement, and this is very, very important, just to set the expectations, to set the boundaries for your interactions with each other for those 9 months. Okay. This also outlines all of the deadlines you need to work to, which is very, very important to bear in mind. Okay, so the idea for your research support class is to have your proposal approved, as we've been looking into. First of all, you'll be given help with that by your general dissertation instructor, and then following that, your dissertation advisor, and ultimately you'll be looking to put together a 2-page proposal outline, including references. So once you've been working on that with your dissertation advisor, it will then be forwarded on to 2 reviewers to look at. Following that, it may come back to you for further amendments, and your DA will be the one who will be advising you during that process. And once those amendments have been made, then it will go back to the reviewers for a final check. And this process can go back and forth a few times, depending on the nature of the amendments that have been suggested. And finally, once the reviewers have agreed it's ready, along with the dissertation advisor, the faculty manager will be signing his approval, his or her approval. And after that stage, you can then proceed on to the ethics procedure. Okay, so what are we talking about when we're talking about ethics approval? Well, I'm sure you're aware from working in the field that ethics is a large part of public health research. There are two types of ethical approval that we're talking about here with your dissertation. The first is the University of Liverpool Ethical Committee approval. The second is approval in your own country, which we normally refer to as local ethics approval. Okay. If you are using publicly available data or secondary data which you have permission to use, or if you're collecting data from non-vulnerable adults and a non-sensitive subject, you may apply for expedited approval, which means that the process is slightly quicker. But if your research will not meet any of the above criteria, then you will actually have to apply for full ethical committee approval. So it's worth bearing in mind when you're coming up with your ideas for your proposal that you will have to be going through two phases of approval, normally speaking. So once you have had your proposal approved and your ethics approved, you'll be working in your dissertation advisor class in that one-on-one setting. And it's really a great idea to be submitting monthly progress reports to your dissertation advisor. You will also be submitting draft submissions for each chapter, and you'll be giving guidance on where exactly to post that within the classroom. You'll also be needing to show your dissertation advisor your pilot study and your data sets for quantitative research, or your transcripts for your qualitative interviews. Okay. It's also very advisable to keep your DA informed at regular intervals, and also your student support manager at least every month about how you're progressing. That way you can ensure that you get the most support and the best tailored support for the stage that you're at. 1 month before your final dissertation submission, it's very strongly recommended that you submit a full draft of your dissertation to your dissertation advisor. And there is a special link within Turnitin for you to do that, the draft dissertation submission link. This is not a deadline which is set hard and fast, but is very highly recommended because once you've submitted your draft, it's often necessary for you to make a few last-minute amendments, and also for your dissertation advisor to guide you in that. So giving a month at the end of your dissertation is very highly recommended. Okay, so dissertation submission. Once you get to that stage, you'll be submitting your final dissertation, ideally before the final deadline, which will be the 28th of that 9th month. After you submit it, finally, your DA is actually no longer available for you to seek guidance from. And the reason for that is that they are normally your first assessor. Okay? Your dissertation will also be evaluated by 2 independent assessors. And finally, once your dissertation has been assessed, the following Board of Examiners meeting will be reviewing your dissertation, approving your grade, and then you can expect a phone call from your student support manager with your grade. And we hope that is normally always a very happy occasion, a very happy phone call, so it's well worth looking forward to. So this is a roadmap of your dissertation journey. You can see right at the start we have the research report module, as we talked about earlier. That's the first 4 weeks. Then in the second 4 weeks, week 4 to 8, you're also set up with a dissertation advisor in a separate classroom. Weeks 8 to 12 is normally the time when you're getting your proposal approved. Following on from that, you're looking into ethical approval. And then the dissertation starts proper. You're collecting data, you're submitting your monthly progress reports to your dissertation advisor, you're starting to analyse that data, and then coming up towards month 8, you're submitting a draft dissertation, and then finally, in that 9th month, you're submitting your final dissertation. Well, I'm sure you're glad to be seeing this slide. Graduation is a very important, but also a very, very enjoyable time. When you pass your dissertation and you are awarded with a degree, you're invited to graduation in Liverpool itself, so you can see the city where you've been studying, the city in which the university is, of course. And this is really the culmination of all of your hard work. It's the payoff. You get to meet fellow students. It's a real celebration. All the details about graduation are available on the University of Liverpool website. But you can also be given these by your student support manager closer to the time. And graduation ceremonies actually take place twice a year, in July, normally the second or third week, and also in December, also the second or third week. Well, thank you for staying with us for this presentation about your dissertation preparation. It's very nice to have been given this honour to give you this information, and I wish you the best of luck with your dissertation that's coming up soon. Thanks very much. Bye-bye.